have to be like, you don't have to go over it transparently first. You could just, I was getting, what was I getting? Oh, transparent red oxide. This color, Stephen Assail uses a ton, and it's beautiful because of its transparency and mixes great with lots of things.
That's the
transparent red oxide. Yep. It's very transparent. If you're trying to paint opaquely, it's not your friend. But if you're trying to scrub in some transparent color somewhere, like here, it's great. I can still see it makes my lights darker, but my darks stay dark. That's what a true glaze does, is it never lightens your darks.
All right.
And this we were talking about, I know Eric's been glazing a little with acrylic and loving it. Oils, we can't do it this phase, but next phase, we can glaze a little, and that's really like the most amazing part of oils. Because unlike acrylic, if you do like 10 glazes in acrylic, it's going to get opaque and hazy. You can do 50 glazes in oils, and it still just looks like cellophane. It's amazing. All right. Ooh. Let me double check that, because that looks wrong. That looks super gray there, but according to my color study, that is the color I want. So I'm gonna just trust my color study. This is the scary. This is why we do all those like color relationship things. It's just hard. It's hard to make that plunge. And it's gonna look wrong until I get it everywhere, until I get the hair the right color to compare it to, and everything. So I'm prepared for that. Here's the ugly phase starting.
And it really does. It looks so odd, just placed in one spot.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes, normally, if I'm really confident, I paint like a computer, top down, and it's like, just trust it and do it. But if I'm apprehensive, I'll scrub it in a little bit just so I can kind of see. It's why we toned that board to get rid of the whites. You gotta get rid of that to really see any of these colors properly.
Super chat over here from Austin Brown. Can you use ink over oil like from a crow pen?
No, there's water in it.
Yeah, I think
Go on, Dave.
Once you use oil, I don't think you can really use anything other than maybe an oil pastel. I don't even know if you can do that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe wax-based media, possibly, but oil floats on water, so you can use oil-based media on top of water-based media, but you cannot do it the other way around. Right, so this is a good example of this is a totally opaque color, but I scrubbed it so thin I can see through, and then if I need to, I just wipe out a little bit, and I can cut my drawing back a little.
Yeah.
It's going to look shitty like that for a while until I get it all blocked in, but then it should be all right. I'll just spread it over the cheeks.
Gonna take in the rest of the stream to try get a skin color.
Well, it's also the part where this is where I really like having that solid drawing, because I can be brave and just scrub messy color around until I find things. And also it creates a greater sense of realism, because light is bouncing so much that there is no just like one color. Like you look at skin and it's 50 colors. And so just being able to scrub things all over the place really adds a sense of realism later on.
Yeah, I have this really gross brown, but I may just send it and see what happens.
Send it.
Send it.
You can really say it's not my picture.
Do it?
I said that's easy for me to say. It's not my picture.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric. What can go wrong?
There, now that I covered up the whites of those. Oh man, Dave, look at that. Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Thank you.
What a
Yeah,
difference that blue makes. You can see it now.
It was looking a little red.
For me, as soon as I covered up the whites of the eyes, just the face started clicking now.
Yeah, that tone that looks so strange on the forehead really just already looks like natural skin.
It looks believable, right? It looks great. So just in safe spaces, like I mentioned, I sometimes put just a few little landmarks. I don't want to render everything and then find out it was the wrong color. So I basically just I'm sloppy until I know it's right, and then I commit and I start to render it all. I shouldn't have even done that shirt, honestly, because of that. But
I'm just amazed that I'm painting right now with no medium color, just paint.
just paint, and it's beautiful, right? And no turf or anything for you right now?
Yeah. Oh, and I've never had it work so well for me.
Yeah, it does what you want it to do. It's great when you get it right. And once you feel that, you know what to feel for. You just go for that every time. Like, it should always feel like that too.
Right, yeah, and I've got new paint, so I just bought it today. I think that probably helps, and I don't have to make it more oily or mess with it much, so that's good. But
honestly, most paints are so superior nowadays. You really shouldn't have to mess, even if unless they're really old. Yeah, you shouldn't have to mess with your paint out of the tube too much. One of the things I really wanted to emphasize in this piece is that kind of like that difference between white flesh and colored flesh, especially on her belly and chest. I can't wait to like build up the whites on her chest. Just total white.
I'm gonna say for my big struggle, it's such a hard thing to do. I need to do it because of that.
You broke up a little bit, Dave. What was that again?
I'm looking at reference and I'm finding it's very, very difficult for me. Which is I need to do it more because it's so hard for me to get something that I like looking at something.
Yeah, I think you have to. It's hard to be selective. It is to. I kind of like don't look at it all the time, or I look at a bastardized version of it and stuff to help me from being too slavish to it.
Well, it's not even being slavish to it. I just find I really struggle. Just making it work. So I've heard, this is kind of a little unrelated, but I've heard that John Singer Sargent would do this very, very controlled process through his whole picture and then use a large brush and add a lot of these really amazing brush strokes just at the end as almost like a style.
Yes and no. I mean, he painted different all the time. So, like, if he was doing a head study, he would paint fast and loose. But more times than not, the effortless parts of his painting are not effortless. Yeah. They're like, he fakes the flamboyance of a lot of areas, and he goes back in and reduces things. And they say good design is when you get rid of what you can get rid of, everything you can get rid of. And a little bit with painting, like efficiency of brushstroke, getting rid of a whole bunch of brushstrokes you didn't need. And if you got the right color, do it in one afterwards. Yeah, there's so many writings available on his methods, and I can't remember the name of the couple, but it's, I think, a woman with a boating hat. And there's like a string of pearls or something, and she was commenting on how when he painted her pearls, he loaded up his brush with 3 different colors, like a mid-tone, a black, and a white. 3 different colors on one brush, and then just went twisted, and just twisted, and painted a whole chain of pearls with mid-tone, core shadow, and highlight all in one fell swoop in one brush load.
Yeah.
All the time.
I got a sketch this for $10. Thank you very much. He says, I love your paintings of Dresden. Thanks so much for doing this demo with David Dan.
Oh, cool, good. I'm such a Dresden Files fan. Those are some of my favorite paintings.
You must have read the books.
Oh yeah, I'm actually not all caught up though. I'm like, I haven't read them in like pre-COVID. So well, I know it's been longer than that, but I'm probably like two books behind. I bet.
Well, there are a lot of books. I'm a lot more than that. I've read a bunch, and they are great. But
They're very good.
Definitely more than 2 books behind.
So much good stuff in there. And I just like Jim Butcher too. Sweet guy. I'm rewatching Firefly with my kids right now, and it's funny how much TV, and I'm thinking the same thing. Dresden Files is very much this, like, it's a long story arc, but then very episodic storytelling. You know, it's like Monster of the Week. This book has this monster and whatever. And TV used to be very much like that. The Firefly included, like, it's each week's episode is like this heist job, and TV just isn't like that anymore. And I realize now, introducing my kids to it, just how different it really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, although
maybe said
now.
Something you said for the overarching, long.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's epic. But I think the same thing with comics. I miss being able to pick up a single issue of Spider-Man, and in this issue, he fought Mysterio, and then that was it. It was done. It's not this, like, 2-year epic event.
Yeah. 2-year epic event that you need to buy 4 other comics that you wouldn't normally buy. It's not the whole story of.
And it's definitely, you get greater stories out of it, but there's something I miss.
Finding it very difficult to go lighter with his muzzle. I tried, and I ended up making the whole face. It's kind of a challenge, for whatever reason.
What is he having trouble with?
His under his nose, around his mouth, it's all white, but it's a much lighter blue.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to capture that, and because I didn't do it in the beginning, I thought I could just add it in paint.
It's a tough spot. there's a few areas of the face that will take up like 10% of the face takes 90% of the time. That's one of those areas. All right, I almost have my values and colors established, which means I can start to actually paint this face. Good rough estimation of the colors I was kind of going for.
I'm already really feeling how. I'm using a pretty large brush, and I'm not working too hard, really hard at all at getting much detail. I can see how I would not have any trouble with it with this.
Yeah, especially if it's sticky. And just avoid turf. Don't go back to turf now, or you're gonna be like shit, and you'll wipe off everything. Like you can cap that up. It's done. Yeah, and I've been using this size brush the whole time. I'll probably start to get a little smaller soon, but big forms I do with big brushes. I think there's this misnomer that to be polished, it takes very tiny brushes, and it's actually quite the opposite. If you want it to look super smooth, use as big of a brush as you can.
That actually does make a lot of sense. You don't have a lot of little introducing strokes.
I'm getting some feedback here, an echo. Is that from somebody changed their headphone setup or something?
No, and you know what? Literally, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm gonna switch to my headphones if it goes on. Maybe that'll help if I switch my audio out. I don't know if it's me or not. Sure can't hurt.
Might be me. Both of you guys, those are looking great.
Thanks, Dan.
Alright. Now I'm at the just gotta do it phase. Like basically what you've been doing the whole time, nitpicking and adding in all the opacity. It's like I have time to model this form now and do the real work. Deal with the nose and such.
On some headphones, and I've got my audio. I'll put that on. I have to admit, it's really distracting for me hearing my own voice in my ears, like
Yeah.
through the headphones.
It's worth mentioning that the way I paint things, like I paint superficial things superficially, so I paint over the eyebrows and everything. I add the eyebrows on top. I don't try to paint around them.
And I've got to say, it's nice actually, the way that you have your picture shot. We've got all three of our pictures, and it's which is great. Yeah.
They look good together. They look good as the set.
Alright, I'm gonna have to whack this away.
Yeah,
Put down some color I shouldn't have.
it's part of it.
What's that?
That's just part of it.
Yeah.
No worries.
Almost creates a nice highlight. Something I can use.
Could you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can now.
Because I couldn't hear you guys. I was talking into the air.
Huh. StreamYard must be glitching.
So yeah, I take the headphones off. I couldn't hear anything.
I am still getting echo, so it might be Eric, or if not, then it's me.
Well, I took the headphones off, so it might be. I don't know if you were getting it at that time though. Were you?
It wasn't as bad, that's for sure.
Okay, so yeah, it's me.
And I'm fine with it. Depends if other people can hear it. If they can't, then forget it. Who cares?
Well, if all of us can hear it, I know.
I haven't heard any echo. I know earlier folks were there was some audio issues, but I haven't heard anything this side.
I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush.
Do a hand check, make sure my hands are still clean. Yeah, sometimes when I'm like at a phase like this, I'll just take a bigger, rougher brush that's totally dry with no paint or anything on it, and kind of do the same thing I did to the sky, and just feather the paint that's there. And it kind of it'll make things smoother. It'll reestablish like my drawing, so I can see it again, and just kind of focus on the big form again, rather than all the noodly details.
So I feel like I'm getting closer to getting my muzzle here lighter, which is what I wanted, but now it's just going to be a matter of painting the rest without losing that.
Yep, you just keep building it up. You're painting light. That's the big takeaway with oils, is you're literally painting the light in, like you build it out.
Another reason why watercolor is so difficult for me.
Yeah.
Going backward, so counterintuitive.
I can't do it either. It's like the one media. I mean, I use my acrylic kind of like watercolor, but even then I'm going in opaquely with colored pencil for highlights and stuff. The one media I don't mess with.
Yeah, and the people that do it well, Bill Sienkiewicz is mostly watercolor. I think he uses like wash all.
Yeah. He uses everything.
Yeah, sure. And there's that. Yeah, he uses everything.
Well, speaking of painters that use everything, did you know George Pratt is teaching at Smart School next semester?
Oh, really?
Yeah. A couple comic people, George Pratt and Jill Thompson, is also teaching. But if anybody watching doesn't know George Pratt's painted comic book work, like Netsuki and stuff, man.
It's been too long, unfortunately. He hasn't done it for quite a while. But... Or has he? Has he done anything lately?
I feel like, I'm trying to think. I think he's done some comic thing not too long ago. It was more of a personal thing or maybe a war thing. But I don't know, honestly. I have a horrible sense of time. And what I've seen lately of him has been more fine art.
Yeah.
He teaches a lot, so lots of life drawings and stuff.
Do you ever consider going into more of a fine art thing instead of illustration?
I did fine arts before I did illustration, when I was trying to get my foot in the illustration door. It's like I've had a backwards career. Most people work towards fine arts, but I like illustration. I like being a sellout.
Yeah. Oh, so do I. It's the best job.
I might someday go back to it, but I don't have any urges of just man, none of these people will let me paint what I want to paint, and I've got something to say. It's like, what I want to paint is like Thundercats. I mean, it's also one of the benefits of working in fantasy. Is I'm a fan of it, so I'm not just doing random commercial, like pharmaceutical ads all day long for things that I don't care about. Like I'm doing Jim Butcher and Brandon Sanderson, authors that I read that I love.
How can
Yeah,
I
and
create
it's
a messy
stuff that has a
font?
cultural impact, which is almost impossible with fine art. Not impossible.
I mean, there's Bansky's and stuff, but yeah, it's about painting for an audience or painting for an audience of like a million or an audience of one. I think is one of the main deciding factors between fine arts and illustration. I just like having, like, I like telling stories. I want to tell a story, not just to like one person. Oh my god, we are not even going to meet our midnight. I'm not, unless I get serious hustle going on.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end up going a little while longer just to get things a little more established in a few spots, and then we'll have to call it. And
People need to leave. They need to leave. There is so. I will do this coat until it's done. Like for oil painting, I can't really stop here and then pick up tomorrow. It just won't work. It'll be all gummy and half dry. So you kind of have to finish what you start with oils, at least to a certain level. Like it doesn't have to be accurate value-wise or color-wise because you can glaze that in later. But if I like covered up half my drawing and stuff like I did here, I would not leave it. I'm just gonna paint tonight till this is done. We're done enough.
yeah. Henry Jammer says Pinto has been eating ice cream. Sorry, Dave. It's not ice cream. It's not his muzzle is lighter. That's the idea anyway. You know, when you have to explain your work, it's not that you failed.
And so I was mentioning, I was looking at the original model sheet. Panthro is just a straight up black dude in the original concept art. He was the Black Panther, like and I think it's actually a good decision to make him gray because he was the only one that looked human out of the bunch.
Well, and already is a Black Panther. Yeah, I could somehow make him trouble with that.
He didn't look like the Black Panther, but he was. I mean, his name is he is a panther, and they just like made him black like a panther. It's kind of great and surprisingly progressive for its age, I thought. To have a main animated character be a person of color, but then they changed it.
You know, you don't realize. So a lot of my reference for facial expressions and things like, especially facial expressions, comes from animation. I really like some of the really good 3D animation, and you don't realize just how few people of color there are in good animation until you start looking for that. Because I thought, okay, I've got a great white boy face that I really like, and I used it actually for some of the stuff I was doing in Batman. And there was a girl, and then there was some kind of villain characters that I was looking at some different things for. I could not find a good black character. Actually, this is before the Miles Morales review was out, so there's that. But yeah, there's just not enough. Not as much as you think.
No, it's difficult and it's problematic because like if you live in certain areas, it's not like there's a plethora of models for you to hire and stuff. Like I assume, like if you're in the middle of nowhere in Canada, like there's probably very few black models available to you even. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Dan, that's incredible.
Thanks. Again, this is where, and then finally, like, so I do all the form before I do the features. So it kind of does look for a long time, but I try to get the face feeling round first, and And then once I've got all that working, then it's just a little bit of features, and it's kind of done.
Yeah. Dave, that's looking great. I mean, the fact that this is all in one setting, Dave. I mean, it looks like you're. I mean, I know Dave and I have spoken about this before. I mean, we've tried all different mediums, everything, and the one thing was just the whole soupy feel. Trying to paint in one setting with oils is not easy. But listening to your advice and everything, it looks like Dave, you're feeling a lot more comfortable than before, and over here too. It's just so much more comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And does it feel like it's fighting you at all, or like it should stay workable for so long?
It is. I'm not fighting with this at all. Anything that's not great about the picture, not a result of the paint. And
What I fought with the most was the acrylic. Sorry, Dave.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't love everything that I've done here. Also, I've gotten really cloudy with it. There's no defined edges.
That's nice though. That's good. That's more realistic, really.
Yeah. Well, it's not finished.
That's what you want.
In terms of the paint, yeah, it's just working. It really is.
And there'll be a point, like if you work this for like 5 hours, it's going to get to a point where it does start to fight you. And you just have to be aware of it and be like, okay, that's quitting time. Like this paint is starting to be half dry. It's not doing what I need anymore. And I'm going to stop and go back to this in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't do that and they just kind of keep mucking it up.
Yeah, I've done that.
I'm not going to be so precious with my palette here. I'm just going to go nuts on it. I've been trying to keep everything separate and neat and everything, and I think that's gone out the window at this point. I'm just going to mix straight on it.
Wheels all come off eventually.
Oh, yeah. They have to.
You know what? Not necessarily, but where we are with our painting, yeah, they have to.
My hair is going to look like a Lego helmet. The Lego headpiece. That just is what it is.
I'm not laughing because it looks like a Lego headpiece. I'm laughing because that was funny. Yeah, I don't think it looks like a Lego headpiece. I do think that my opinion. Okay, look, I don't know. Don't listen to me, but I would just start whapping it in there with a big brush and just, let it fade out a little.
Yeah, what's fighting me is the fact that I can just blend it. Yeah, I'm constantly thinking acrylic. I need to hurry, I need to rush because,
No,
but it's not
slow
true
down.
because I can. What's that?
Yeah, you got to slow down.
Yeah. And you can blend it into the color that you already put down because this is opaque and, it'll blend perfectly over what was there.
Just because I use it quite often, the raw umber and alizarin crimson, both are very transparent together, make a great, deep shadow kind of tone that I like to use a lot. If I don't know what color to put in a deep shadow, it's usually a mixture of raw umber and alizarin.
Yeah, I got that from your your video as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, funny. Have I been doing it that long?
What's that?
That's funny. I've been doing it that long.
I think Vallejo in his, I can't remember the name of the book now. It was a book by him and Julie Bell. I think he likes green in his shadows.
Yeah, he uses the same phthalo or Windsor green mixed with a alizarin combo.
Nice.
That's actually where I got it from. That's actually where we got it from too. You told us that. I remember. Years ago.
I've been fortunate to teach several workshops with Forrest, so I get to pick his brain about stuff.
That would be something else.
Sure would be.
he teaches a lot. You can take a workshop with him. He's pretty available, and guy's not going to be around forever. So.
Dan, you still need to show us his that trick you're talking about for backgrounds.
Yeah, this is not the painting for that, but it's mostly it's a I think you might have done it with cell freeze, like a lift out technique.
Oh, really?
You're just lifting out with turpentine and a bristle brush, and then feathering it a little bit. For all those mountains, it's all just turp. It takes like 5 minutes. It's so easy.
Wow. I need to try it.
It's easy when you know how to do it. It's like watching Bob Ross palette knife a mountain. It's harder than it looks, but you're good at it.
So like so many things, yeah. When you know how to do it.
All over my hand now.
Man, guys, those are looking great. Dave, you really are like you're gonna get this done.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna ignore his whole shoulder area over here. I'm gonna have to. I won't be able to get to that, but
I'm gonna try to get it done. I think my hair won't get totally done, but I can get it looking pretty close at a reasonable time. Actually, I find myself looking at the stream a lot because I can see my picture zoomed out, and it's helping me.
I do that all the time. Pretty much every painting stream we have, or any stream where we're coloring.
Yeah, I can. Because all I'm trying to get is like, does this forehead come out enough? Does the nose come out enough? Like all of the three-dimensional aspects. So
easier on a screen. It's kind of nice.
Dan, do you blur your edges on the edge of your figure at all?
On anything round, yeah. Round edges tend to be a little softer. If I'm trying to get a face to pop, I'll keep it a little harder if I need to. Most things, it's one of the things we were talking a little bit about. It's things that work well in comics don't translate always to realistic painting because it's about line. Like I think of like line being on one end of a spectrum and pure form, which has no line on the other end. And so really like most realistic things, it's a little soft at the edges, but you lose a lot of oomph if everything's too machine soft. So I kind of pick and choose or whatever, but for the most part, anything really spherical, I try to soften the edge so it doesn't look like a circle cut out on the thing. And hair.
Yeah, I really want to try blend this hair, see what happens.
What else do I usually make soft? I tend to make eye sockets and lips a little softer than I think as well. Particularly lips. People outline lips really hard.
James Bond asked if I heard of Greg Russell. He just found his work, and yeah, I'm a huge fan. He's a great artist. We actually did a book of the week on P. Greg Russell.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, really incredible designer.
Totally. Yeah, he and Kaluta are like, Mignola are design guys for me. Like go-to, like look at this design more than anything.
Yeah. All great designers, and P. Craig Russell has a lot of. It's still different than Mignola, but a lot of the same sensibilities. He'll do like a more of a flat graphic, kind of an angle, and then just make it really ornate. And what's the art school is very popular in France, not the school, but the type of art Nouveau.
Yeah.
A lot of Verdugo, really nicely done.
Totally. Man, talk about being at it for a long time. Like P. Craig Russell, I think it's like his work looked just as good as it does now back in the 80s. And it's just.
Back to Elric.
Yeah. When was that? Was that even 70s?
Maybe, I'm actually not sure.
A long career, whatever it is.
And he's one of those kinds of artists that just didn't fade with age. It's not
I think there's a good chance my dog knows that.
So what do you think, Eric? Do you think you could do this as quickly as acrylic if you did it more?
It'll take a lot of paintings to get there. But I see.
Graphite or
Like
smudge.
doing it now versus what we did before,
I could do that.
it's a lot easier. And that was only a few paintings ago, so I don't know how many paintings it would take to get the same proficiency level as acrylic, but I feel a lot better about this. Let's put it that way.
I really don't think it would take you too many. I think that, like I was saying, so much of painting is about picture making. It's color and understanding
It's way
form.
too wet.
And the medium is the easiest part, really.
Oh
It's just when you're learning them all at once. That's when it's hard.
I hate it when people say that.
What, that the medium is the easy part?
Yeah. Fight with it. Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Good.
But you're also fighting with never
On yours there?
form realistically. You're always doing comic stuff, so it's everything you're learning now. You know?
Yeah. I'm finding this is definitely taking longer than I thought it would. But I don't think that it's inherently longer. I think I could see how this could almost even be quicker. But
What I'm seeing on yours, Dave, looks like, I mean, looks a lot like your acrylic work, so
yeah,
it looks pretty close.
yeah. What I'm missing from the acrylic stuff right now is places where there are a few places in here, especially where I'm so used to working with acrylic, where I can just throw in a bunch of blue and then expect to put yellow on top and have no trouble. You know, I could make the yellow thick enough and it'll cover it. I just won't do that here. So there are a few things like that. Probably a little planning would have been a good idea.
All right, I gotta really get serious. I'm gonna get close to done here. Let's see. What else do I need? Whoops. Eyes. Get these eyes looking around.
I feel like I'm going very, very soft. A little damp, you know. Too soft. Like
I don't think so. I mean, look how soft mine is. I'm working up to those. You kind of work up to texture. You start soft and out of focus a little bit, and you work your way up to those big, chunky, hard edge strokes. You don't have to. I mean, the whole thing can be bold, and you work in softness too, the opposite way. But it's one of the things oil is good at, is letting you be soft. So think of it like a scale of edges and embrace it a little and be picky about where you do get hard.
yeah.
In general, I think one of the, I'm cognizant of it, it's one of my criticisms of myself is I am not soft enough.
Center it.
I crispen up and add too much detail to everything. And
It's not going
in
to be
certain ways I
perfect.
paint make me loosen up, and I find they always look better when I'm much softer and loose. I think it's being implied.
Down.
I didn't lock the exposure on my camera, so the colors are changing every time I add a new color. But it's not super accurate representation, but
It's really so much about the process. I think that's all right.
yeah.
And I think so many people that are watching
one,
actually have a very good understanding of a lot of
Sorry.
color theory and a lot of those sorts of things. Probably better than Eric and I, quite a few people.
it's wider at the top. So
My goal for this one going in was what we're doing right now, and that is I'm filling out an oil painting. For better or worse, I'm getting this in without losing it, without losing control, and feeling like I'm
Making a mess.
just making a mess. And I can bring this to a level of finish. I can tell that I could sit here and make this as clean and tight as I want it to be.
Perfect. That's good.
I've gotten everything out of this that I was looking to. It's been really great. And I can't stress enough again, for you guys that are watching, you have to try this. You really do.
Dave, this is about as long as our first painting session.
Oh, there you go. So it's not too bad.
So there's definitely growth there. And
You know what? We might have 4 people watching now. That's all right. We've gone to bed, but this will be up tomorrow, and people can come back and watch it.
Yeah, for me, it's like midnight is my when I stop drinking coffee and go pour myself a drink cutoff, and then I still keep painting, but it's like a wind down. That's fine. I'm always painting this late. What time do you guys usually wrap it up?
Usually around 11 is the live stream. We're always wrapping up. For me, painting, I'm like working. I can be up 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Just not ideal.
No, I hate that I do it, but I do it too.
Yeah, and I'm up at 7:30 or 8 every morning.
Oh, no, that part I don't do.
Well, it's not possible, but my wife, she makes me coffee. She is so great. Like, she's great. She also expects me to get up. So, I can fall back. But up. She's out doing the horses all morning from 6 o'clock. So I think she comes in and spend a little bit of time. JDS was still here. Thank you so much. Nick Keys is still here.
2 centimeters down.
We have Fred Saramago Perez, and I apologize, Fred. I'm certain that I pronounced that wrong, but he's also still here. So yeah, thank you for all you guys that have stuck with us. I know
Hang it up, guys. It's probably because they're working too.
Yeah.
I feel like why do I listen to you guys all the time while I work? I have a studio company.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's an isolating job. It's a great job.
Well, you got out to some cons recently. How did that feel?
It's been great. I saw a lot of people in the game and ages, especially San Diego. I saw so many people. So yeah, I had a really great time. And I keep seeing people from the stream too, and from the channel. I saw JDSCT in Toronto last year. I saw Greg Ello. I think we had Greg here earlier on. I don't know if he's still here.
yeah, I think he was here.
Yeah. just in Miami a couple weeks ago.
Something else I'm finding difficult here is fine details with oil. Like with acrylic, you know, I can just pull out a colored pencil if I have to, you know. Here, I'm
Should
like,
be a good small brush here, but it should be nice and sticky and actually let you do details pretty easy. Unless there's just too much paint on the surface sometimes, but I'm getting to that right now. Actually, I'm trying to add in a little bit of these like striations and stuff on there.
and then the other thing is white gaps or gaps everywhere. Where I'm just not bold enough to have line, you know.
Oh, you didn't get rid of the white of the board? You're
Yeah.
just take that plunge, just cover them all up with white. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It's,
How much
it's
time
kind of
have you got? I
wild.
may want to add that bounce light, Dan.
You're gonna add that?
How much time do we have?
It's 3 minutes of, but you know, all the time in the world, really.
Okay, I'll add everything else, and then it'll be a bonus if I get to it.
Trying to make these stripes on her face make sense, like they're tiger stripe kind of things, but it's reading like cast shadow. Yeah, the thing I think once you get used to oil painting, it really is, it feels like sculpting on the surface. You're just not even adding paint sometimes, you're just pushing around what's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you've finally gotten it. Like when
Yeah,
when that
it
speeds
is
up.
fun when that happens here.
I'm much more adding paint still, but yeah, it's feeling like something that I think I can get better at. Inconsistent.
Don't rip. Come on. You don't.
On the other hand, I didn't use teeth up and leave those, unfortunately. There are some things, but
Huh. Let's peel out the paint.
I'm really cheating at this point, but that's okay.
There's no cheating.
Basically going full intensity white here.
yeah, do
I'm
that.
gonna have to stop, guys.
Yeah, just throw white in and it blends into the color. I'm doing that too. It worked great.
That's how you do it. Yep, you lay down that local color and then you work the highlight into it, and it's so.
That's something you can't do with acrylic.
No.
And it's
But
great
I
at
really want to add
replicating
that bounce light, Dan.
it's the way light works. Like it mixes with the local color underneath with the local light source color, and so it kind of does the same thing. Like you know, right now I'm painting an orange part of the face, but if there was blue moonlight shining on it, it would just be I'd just do this highlight in blue, and the way it mixes with that orange is pretty much what the phenomena would look like. Yeah, just don't get the color mix the same way.
Yeah, so the last piece that I did something well, it was actually kind of fun. It worked out. It worked in multiple days. I have these little plastic jars, little plastic cups, whatever, and I mixed basically whenever I found a color I liked, I saved it in a cup. And I had like a whole bunch of airbrush colors, saved it in a cup. So I just came back the next day, pulled it out, no mixing, nothing, just man, that helped a lot.
Right. Michael Whalen pre-mixes his colors, and he has little film canisters full of colors, and he has like thousands of them. He has a whole room full of gradated everything. So when he's airbrushing, he just grabs the right color and just works it. Maybe not 1,000, but hundreds, like 400 of them. I always thought that would take some of the fun out of it, but now more and more I get to realize the wisdom of it. Because it takes a certain amount of control and consistency to get certain effects.
Yeah. And I think probably the better you get, the less fun there is in fighting with that stuff. You know you can make it work. So at that point, like I'm just assuming. I mean, I'm no good at doing that.
I think you have higher expectations, and with that to achieve those takes more and more finesse last time.
There you go. That's a good way. Yeah, that's a good way.
It's funny. I always find especially on my camera, every time I add, like it looks like everything's white already until I add real white, and then it's like, oh, it wasn't white, but it's actually still pretty far away from it. I can't tell you the last time I stayed up late to paint a thing just because I wanted to make a thing.
Instead of
We're bad influence, huh?
No, it's nice. I need it. It's alright. I've been better than lately on it. I took the kids on vacation. Like a day trip, like 2 days. Mountains. But it was, I've been working like such a dog. I really did need it.
Okay. I like it.
And this feels good too.
yeah, for me, especially with conventions, as much as I'm having a great time with them, it's definitely taken a lot of my time.
Yeah, you probably lost like weeks of work traveling and stuff, no?
I didn't, but
Do you work on the road?
no, because I always do commissions at shows, so it really gives me just really ramping it up. Maybe that's actually how little I get done normally, I guess, but